Besides, I thought you'd decide on having no open break between us, no scandal, or wasn't that what you meant?"
"It was, but I don't see yet how it can be managed. Do you?"
"The way I had in mind was, since I've lost your love—oh, I'm not complaining—the way I had in mind was to leave you over here with plenty of money, and be suddenly called to America on business. Then, if it would hurt your feelings to have me put myself out of the way, it needn't hurt them for something to seem to happen. Nelson Smith could be wiped off the map, and if you weren't free to marry somebody else, at least you'd be free of me. But if you won't take my money, that plan will not work. You can hate me as much as you like, but I'm not going to leave you alone in the world without a penny. Neither you nor any one can force me to do that. I've thought of another thing, though, since we began to talk. Only I don't like to propose it, Anita. It isn't a good plan, from your point of view."
"I'd better hear it."
"Well, I might get a cable hurrying me across to the other side, and you might go along."
"Oh!"
"I warned you you wouldn't think it a good plan. But since I've begun, let me finish. In Canada and the United States I'm known, in my least important character, as Michael Donaldson, and I've tried to keep the name clean because of my father and mother. When there's been anything shady doing I've taken a fancy name and made such changes as I could in myself. The reason I didn't want you to see the name in the register was because of what happened on the Monarchic. I'd given you that ring, you know. I couldn't resist doing that. I wanted you to have it, not because of its value, but because it is beautiful. I thought it was like you, somehow. I had to make up its loss in another way to the man who expected to have it, that Napoleon I mentioned."
"I know, the old man, Paul Van Vreck,"
Annesley guessed with weary impatience. "I'll not say yes or no to that, but it will be bad for me, and perhaps for you too, if you ever mention Paul Van Vreck in such a connection. Not that you'd be believed."
"I shan't mention him again."
"Just as well not. But it was my name and my plan I began to speak about. I was going to say you needn't be afraid that if you took my name, which is yours now, you'd have to be ashamed of it. We could go to America, and in England Mr. and Mrs. Nelson Smith would soon be forgotten. I'd hand over the money you hate to charities, not the kind of charities I've been supporting here. They've all been part of what you call my fraud, and have only given me a chance to bring some rather queer-looking fish around me, who might have raised curiosity if I couldn't have accounted for them, but real charities. And if you'd stick by me, I don't mean love me, I know you can't do that, but live in the same house and not chuck me altogether, I'd turn over a new leaf. I'd begin again from the beginning. In Texas I've got some land, a ranch. It isn't worth much, I'm afraid, but I came by it honestly for me. I won it at poker from a man named Jack Haslett. He was a devil for cards, but it didn't matter. He was rich, and he had a better ranch than he lived on. He's dead now, was near dead then, of consumption. He liked me, said he was glad I'd won the ranch. It was only a bother to him. I was with Jack when he died, and did what I could to ease him at the end. He was grateful, and what money his bad luck at cards had left him he willed to me. It was only $8,000. If it had come to me any other way, I dare say I'd have chucked it away in a month. It wouldn't have seemed worth saving. But I was sort of sentimental about poor old Haslett and his feeling for me. I didn't care to lump his money in with what I got in my line of life. I made a separate fund of it. Some had to go towards improvements on the place before I could let the ranch to any one. But there's about $600 left, I guess. The fellow I let to wrote me a few weeks ago that he was tired of ranching and wanted to clear out. He hoped I could find someone to buy his cattle and the furniture he's put in the house. The letter was forwarded by a man I keep in touch with my business and whereabouts, so he can look after my interests. I've had no time to answer yet. I was going to write that I didn't know anyone who cared to settle in Texas, but now what if I wrote that I'd take the place and everything on it off the fellow's hands myself?
"I don't know what Texas is like," Annesley replied coldly, "but anything would be better than the life you're now leading."
"I wasn't intending to go alone," Knight reminded her. "I said if you'd stick by me, not throw me over altogether. I'd try and begin again. In that case, Texas would do as well as anywhere, and the place and the money are clean."
"How could I go with you, and live under the same roof, with everything so changed?" the girl exclaimed. "It would kill me."
"As bad as that? Well, then, I must rack my brains for something else. But I'm sorry this won't do. Would you care to live with Archdeacon Smith and his wife?"
"No, no, and they wouldn't want me."
"That seems queer to me, that any one should have the chance of keeping you with them, and not want you. How would it be for you to go on the same ship with me, and find a little home somewhere on an allowance I could make you out of that fund? You see, you are my wife in the eyes of the law, so I am bound to support you, and you are bound to let me do it, if I can do it honestly."
Annesley flung up her arms in a gesture of abandonment. "Let it go at that," she sighed, "until I can think of something better."
"Very well, we won't argue that part yet. The thing to make sure of at the moment is this: do I get a cable, say on the day everyone's leaving Valley House, calling me back to America on urgent business, and do I take you with me?" Annesley's thoughts raced through her head and would not stop. Knight did not speak. He was waiting with outward patience for her decision. It seemed that she would never know what to say. She was about to tell him in despair that she must have the rest of the day to make up her mind, but before she could speak Parker knocked at the door.
"I'll go with you," the girl said hastily, "on the ship, but after that—"
Parker knocked again.
"Come in," Annesley called.
"Thank you," Knight said, getting up from his chair near her bed.
"Don't thank me.
But Parker had opened the door. All that was conventional and agreeably commonplace in the lives of happy, well-to-do people seemed to enter the room with her. CHAPTER 21.